Rawr. When did we all get this dumb? Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about tax.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef. Come on, man. Use your brain. The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
Oh yeah, it's the Why I'm Angry podcast, and it started now.
Welcome, everyone.
So we're here in the Man Cave studio, the Freestyle Man Cave studio. Make sure that if you're not listening to this as it's going on live on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, that you're checking us out. You'll also get us on our podcast if you're watching this live tomorrow morning at 5:30 on all of the sites that you get podcasts. So, I got in the studio a few people. I got, Peyton. I got Jay Boots. And the illustrious Lady D.
Hey, listeners.
The only one who actually is professional in this thing, Lady D.
And Peyton. Peyton's pretty. Let's just get it to the truth of it.
Hi, listeners. Peyton barely looks up from catching a Pikachu.
Sorry, my bad.
And Jay Boots.
I'm actually playing Go.
Gives us the Kiss intro.
Yeah, call me Gene Simmons, Jr.
Gene. Only wish, Digital Drum Boy.
Simmons.
So.
Hey, with that departure, can I change my name?
Can you change your name from Jay Boots?
Yeah.
No. It's Jay Boots. From now on.
I'm just stuck with it?
It's stuck.
Okay.
So, feel very under ready for this. Headlines and all that good stuff. But, we had some things go on this week. We had a ton of stuff go on today. Federal courts have been busy.
Doing what?
They indicted the Biden son. What's his name?
Hunter McCheesebrain.
Which Hunter seems like a guy who should have guns, right?
Mm.
Well, now he's not going to be able to have guns if he gets,
indicted on a federal level.
It gets,
Apparently, it was guns and drugs.
Convicted on a felony drug or drug.
He can still have them. It's only
can't have
illegal
drugs?
if you get caught.
Yeah,
that is true. We did establish that a few weeks back on
many questions
on the podcast. That it's like speeding. It's only illegal if you get caught. And with that being said, just don't get caught.
well, you would have been all right if you didn't write a book about it.
Siri is trying to talk on the
She's not welcome
on
here.
the podcast.
Get
here.
her out.
I'm trying, but she can't understand what we're saying. So, and I don't use Siri enough to know what's going on and how to kick it off.
I'm going back
There
to
we go.
Pokemon.
Got it. So, he's indicted on gun charges. These are the same gun charges that he has a sweetheart deal with. That he had a pre-trial deal on, and the judge says, "Wait a second, what's that?" And stopped everything.
Yeah, why did he?
So, I didn't see because of it, coming down through today and stuff. I didn't get a chance to see what exactly he was getting set up on. What the statute was. It was something about drugs.
Yeah,
being on drugs while filling out a federal form and stuff.
Yeah, that's the. It's so you fill out a federal form and it asks you under perjury or under. If you're on drugs, if you sell drugs, if you are currently under the influence.
Also me.
And he lied on it.
Right.
And so most people get minimum 5 years. They'll get up to 10 years.
I feel like all of the antics he's done and we're going. It's almost like bringing him up on RICO or something like that.
And that's the thing. They picked that charge because that has no connection to Joe Biden. Every other charge, all the tax charges that he has pending, those are connections to Joe Biden.
Which did they throw when they threw out the gun deal? Did they throw out the other deals he had with the?
No, nothing's been done with them yet.
Okay,
so they're still.
Because I knew that there was they had pushed it down to lower level misdemeanors and stuff like that, and
I want to say the gun charge, the statute of limitations is going to expire in October, so
they got to
get the timings.
So yeah,
I just looked it up, and it says that 2 counts are tied to Biden allegedly completing a form indicating that he was not using illegal drugs when he purchased a Colt Cobra revolver in October 2018. The third count alleges that he possessed a firearm while using a narcotic. The indictment says Biden certified on a federally mandated form that he was not an unlawful user of and addicted to any stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance, when in fact, as he knew that the statement was false and fictitious. 2 of the counts carry a maximum prison sentence of 10 years, while the third has a maximum 5 years. Each count also carries a maximum fine of $250,000.
Maybe he didn't know he was on the substance.
What was his substance?
Like
crack.
Normal, yeah.
Was it really?
He's big on crack cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the classy drug.
Yeah, it's
crack is whack.
Should have listened to Spike Lee.
Should listen to Whitney.
My favorite part is that no one would know any of this stuff if he, in his memoirs, didn't put, oh yeah, I was blasted when I got that gun.
The dude is worse than Pete Rose. Pete Rose is right before they were going to probably vote him back into baseball and get him put him back, put him in the Hall of Fame where he should be. But he makes too much money with the controversy of not being in baseball that he writes a book that says, if I bet on baseball, this is how I done it.
Well, that O.J. Simpson, same thing.
He did that.
If I killed her, this is how I would have done it.
That's probably what he got the idea from. He was like, hey, O.J. just made a ton of money off that book.
I want a book deal.
Right? You need to do something, then get exonerated for it, and then be like, if I did it, that's what you got to do. It's like, if I sped, this is how I would have done it.
Gotcha. I still want a book deal.
Hunter Biden definitely needs a babysitter if he doesn't have one already.
We talked about this with the ordeal and the Britney Spears, where they have a conservator. He probably needs to emancipate himself and then get adopted.
Well,
maybe
by a nice Russian family.
Maybe the Tuohys want to adopt him also.
Well, and that's the funny thing is that when you listen to the media, you would think this guy's 12 years old. They talk about his...
He's like a 20, 30-year-old guy.
Joe Biden's child.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's 54 or whatever.
Yeah, he's already got no hair like the rest of us. He's just...
Speak for yourself, I got hair.
You're also not as old as the rest of us.
How old is you? Are you in your 20s?
I don't think you're allowed to ask that.
I was going to say, you can't ask her that on national radio.
Yeah, on national
podcast.
That's all you need to know.
What'd you say?
We're actually international podcast.
You're 30 years old?
I'm over 30.
You're over 30 years old?
Yeah.
I'm telling.
Who you going to tell?
Santa Claus.
So
John Benet Ramsey.
What I thought, when I first saw this, is, and then I saw some stuff this week about Biden's approval ratings. I'm like, they're getting ready to railroad Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Railroad Joe, which is good for railroad is good for Joe. Joe likes those trains. He's ready to develop military trains. He said that in a speech about a month and a half ago that he's looking at developing all kinds of military weaponry, airplanes, trains, boats,
automobiles,
all kinds of those things.
Wow.
I'm still not sure how you weaponize and militarize a train. especially if you're not fighting on your turf. But
I've seen an episode of
maybe he knows
A-Team where they put metal plates on it.
And that's based on.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's based on a book,
definitely
right?
true.
It's
That's definitely nonfiction. It's definitely not.
Pretty sure it's based on real events.
The A-Team.
The book is based on real events where they base the movie off of. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying the Democrat Party is getting ready to railroad Joe?
Yeah, I'm saying they're definitely getting ready to railroad Joe. They let this Biden impeachment inquiry come out. Although they are like telling the Republicans they're racist, obviously, because they're impeaching.
That's all they got in their handbag.
Impeaching Joe, but yeah, and they're saying how reckless it is to use a false FBI tip sheet.
Oh. That's a.
What was that one called that they used for President Trump?
Smells like hypocrisy in here.
Russian.
It was a Russian dossier, right?
Yeah.
And they went back and looked at all, and they couldn't corroborate. They offered a guy $1 million to corroborate that any of it was real.
They're using their playbook on.
Guys still didn't get $1 million.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a shame.
Too bad.
I don't think they're quite there yet, though. I think it's part of the process that they're this is Plan B. So what they're going to do is Joe's going to say, well, my son Hunter, he's struggling, and Joe's going to use it to his benefit. He's going to come out smelling like a rose to some people. I think vast majority of the American people probably see through it. But
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah.
But
until they come up with the tax charges and they start really getting serious about saying there's money being laundered through Ukraine.
I think this is the beginning. I mean, it's not the end of it where like you said, once they get to the tax charges, then Joe is gone. But I mean, last week's interview with Kamala Harris where she's like, yep, I think it's time for me to step up and take over. Joe's getting pretty old here.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's the beginning of the end here on it.
But who do they have?
Kamala, that one girl that has three letters as her name.
Oh.
AOC. They got.
She's
not
even
old enough,
yeah.
or she's just old enough. I think, isn't she? She looks old enough.
Don't
be
mean.
The guy out in California.
They got that girl from Michigan, Omar
Whitmer, Big Gretch,
whatever her name is, the crazy one.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think it really narrows it down any. Feinstein, she could run. She's definitely old enough. You talked about her. She's 92. She's only a tad older than Joe. And women age better than men.
Nader's looking better and better every year.
Joe Nader. Whoa.
Did you guys see Romney decided he was going to retire?
Oh, really?
Yep, he announced he would
I
not
saw
run
that.
next time.
He said something like,
He's still around till 2025, but he
said,
I'm
going to let younger
retire
leaders
from what?
come in.
from Congress. He's
Yeah.
not going to run for Congress next year or next time, which is 2025.
Is he taking Mitch with him?
Mitch might take them all with him.
Wow. Yeah.
I guess he goes down.
Yeah, he's got the domino effect going.
I just think term limits would help a lot.
I hear
Term limits or an age limit thing. There are some super sharp people at 70, 80 years old, but it would be cool to, I'm sorry we couldn't use you as a 70, 80-year-old. Go enjoy your life, vacation, tell somebody a story, coach up the next group, something like that. If we just got rid of the old people that really shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. I think that's the argument is, well, but whatchamacallit is so sharp at 80. Oh, okay, but there's like 18 of them that are not sharp enough to to butter the bread.
That's holding them back.
See, I think that we're missing the point. The people are not doing their job. We as American people are not doing our job. We're not listening. We're not.
No, I have to
paying
get to
attention.
soccer practice.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem. There shouldn't be term limits. We should do our job and say, this guy's not doing his job. We need to get him out there. Or this guy can't stay awake at the podium. We need to get him out there. People are not paying attention, or they're just following the rest of the crowd.
I got to make a meatloaf.
But that's the democracy of our democracy.
That's it, and the problem is if you look at where those people are, it's where the biggest divide of actual reason is, like out in the middle, like out in L.A. where Feinstein is. They're looking at the D behind her name, and that's it.
That's it.
And that's what we get as a government.
And they remember her name. Name recognition is everything out there. And so you get the D behind her name, and she gets elected.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, same way. Like he's been there so long, he's got the name recognition, and like we've talked, my father-in-law walked into the fair and went into the Republican booth and says, "What's our plan?" And the guy's like, deer in the headlights, looking at him, and he goes, what do you mean? He goes, what's our plan in taking down Sherrod Brown at the next election? And the guy's like, oh, well, we got this guy and this guy. They got a little bit of money. And we got this guy that's got a little name recognition and probably the most money, but they don't think he's going to make it. So you're telling me there's no plan?
It's just like
no plan. It's cool.
It's just
All
like
right.
it's just like the people just treat politics like they're rooting for their favorite team. Their favorite sports team.
Yeah.
And they're just sold out loyalists to Detroit Lions just because.
Right. Which is why I'm not a Detroit Lions fan. I grew up like Detroit Tigers, Michigan football.
Sure.
I couldn't agree with what they did to Barry. There was nothing else to root for. It was Barry Sanders or the Detroit Lions. I rooted for Barry Sanders.
That's all they had.
And I didn't root for the Lions. I ended up a Bears fan. Because Walter Payton was sweetness. That's right.
Also, Refrigerator Perry.
Refrigerator Perry was great.
Before my time, though.
So
Mike Singleton
was good.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually got to meet Refrigerator Perry. He was he's in pretty bad shape though. His knees are pretty rough. They had a wheelchair him in. He's a big dude too. So
I've assigned
cool guy.
Brian Urlacher ball.
It's nice.
I like Brian Urlacher.
He's cool.
He's a cool guy.
How did he get his hair back though? That's what I want to know. Like,
yeah, me too.
They were like, oh, it's Bosley. Like, really, was it Bosley, or was it just that he never had like he just shaved his head for the helmets?
He did,
and then he just grew it back, because he protected it.
Yeah.
You're not true. You're not fooling me, Brian. You're not.
We're calling you out.
That's right. So, Lady D, you got anything for us? I got one more.
Did y'all see the case about the Chrisleys?
The Chrisleys?
Yeah.
Is that their last name?
Yeah, Todd and Julie Chrisley.
I've heard of the case. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't watch a lot of cases. This is why we've got you.
So basically, a recap, they were sentenced to their husband and wife. They come from I think they both were realtors, or Todd Chrisley was a realtor. I can't remember what his wife did. Anyway, they had a TV show on TBS about their family. And they were sentenced to prison for tax evasion, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud. It was like a whole bank fraud, all type of stuff that they did. Didn't pay their taxes to the IRS, a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, so they were originally sentenced. Todd was supposed to serve 12 years, and his wife Julie were supposed to serve 7 years. Well, they have gotten their sentence reduced.
What for?
And
I said, what did they get? How did they get their sentence reduced?
I don't
Just
know.
like for good
so
behavior?
I was reading the article, and it says on September the 8th, it was confirmed by Federal Bureau of Prisons that Todd Chrisley will be released on January 22nd of 2033, 2 years less than his original sentence. And as for Julie, her sentence was reduced by 14 months and will now be released on October 19th, 2028.
It's like a Shawshank Redemption thing, like they just took care of the books at the prison, and they're getting to go home early.
Yeah, but how
they definitely, from what it appears that they've been convicted of, you would think that they would be serving the full sentence, but you know how our criminal justice system is.
I love our criminal justice system.
Like, well, you probably should not. Okay.
Speaking,
and this is coming from someone with a degree in criminal justice.
Oh, see, we're on opposite sides. So you're the good guy, and I'm the bad guy. This is bank cowboys and Indians, bank robbers and policemen.
Banks and robbers,
cops and robbers.
That's what I meant to say.
I'm
cops
just saying.
And robbers. Sorry, I'm a little.
If we letting people out for not paying in their taxes and defrauding or frauding the banks and the IRS,
I can see you arresting people.
So
me,
you.
Man, tonight is going to get into some conversations. So this is one of those things that I've talked about for a while, and I think I've even talked about it extensively on the podcast. They didn't commit a violent crime. So is there a better punishment we could do to them? Or we could do, I hate saying do to them, but that we could do
like
that
lesson?
Would not lessen, but would actually help rehabilitate. Like, they're not violent, so there's no like they didn't commit a murder or anything like that, so there's no reason to keep them out of the population, right? Like, they're probably not, like, other than they could dupe someone. You know, maybe we could, take their face or something, or maybe make them wear a mask or something so that they couldn't like charm you out of your money or something. But like, is there, like, are we really setting people up for rehabilitation, or are we just throwing them in jail and saying, yeah, there you go?
Well, the state gets kickback money from the government for their prison. The wardens they see all that money. So
I'm not saying why we should do, like, why they do it. I'm saying, I mean, I know all the reasons why we throw people in jail, but like, shouldn't there be some kind of reform that we could put through that would not, like, really drug users?
Ooh, that's that's borderline utopian society stuff. I know,
but we didn't, when we started the country, we didn't do a ton of jailing people.
Yeah, I think we just
maybe you went to the stocks.
I was to say we sent them to the stocks, or
maybe you got tomatoes thrown at your face,
like a work release program.
Maybe you got a public beating.
Maybe
they have work release right now.
Well, I mean, maybe we make them, build ships out on an island somewhere.
And I'm not saying like that's not that couldn't be a good option. Is that like, but just throwing them in jail, they're not a harm to society. And they're not doing anything for society other than now that we're feeding them 3 meals a day and giving them housing. Like, wouldn't it be great?
No. We're taking the one thing from them that we all have right now: freedom.
What?
Yes.
You ain't free.
But
Mike almost cussed.
Freer than them. but at that same point, what does that give us? Like, we took their freedom. Woo!
So what would you prefer them to do for people who commit crimes?
Make license plates. I don't care. Like, something that
But what if they're thieves? They steal.
Okay, then they can make license plates.
In Saudi Arabia, they cut their hand off for stealing.
Like if they're a violent criminal, then they go to jail because they need to be out of society, right?
Yeah, but what level of violence?
Time out. You know how like when you was a kid, you do something bad, you gotta go sit in the corner. It's time out.
Yeah, but did that ever really help you? Like,
yeah.
Did you like think while you were sitting in the corner? Did you think, yeah, in 20 minutes I'm going to do that again?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm pretty much.
I'm
the odd one out.
Because the timeout was the nicety. The next step was you about to get your ass whooped. So
right.
Excuse you.
Right. But even after that, you're like, was that bad enough to be like, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm just not going to get caught doing that again?
It depends on the person.
You wised up.
Yeah, you wised up. Like you said, you wised up. And you went and did it again. Yeah. Just you didn't get caught.
I just never did it.
But the person has to want to change, though.
True.
I waited a day or two.
True. But I'm just saying. I mean, that's just me like saying things.
Well, this argument is always it's always been the argument.
Right.
Is it rehabilitation or is it incarceration?
Right.
But that comes down to the judge, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and that's also
if you get lucky with a good judge,
what kind of theory they're kind of riding on, and now it's also left and right. So if you're left, you usually believe in rehabilitation. Well, lately it's been just setting them free and
right,
tell them to come back
Slap
someday.
Me and let me go.
Yeah, and then the right wants to lock them up for the rest of their life and throw away the key.
Right. I mean, I feel like I kind of fall somewhere in between. Like I understand
most Americans do. Yeah.
Like I understand we got there has to be there is a punishment that needs to be doled out or whatever. But in the end, does the punishment fit the crime, or does the punishment help you in any way or help the society any way? Does it do anything but hurt the rest of us because we're now, like I said, we're paying for you to go and eat 3 meals and sit behind bars. And yeah, we took your freedom, but what does freedom do in my pocket? Nothing.
Right.
Your freedom doesn't sit on my head as a hat.
I'm not scared.
But would you rather have that person
with retaliation
be out committing more crimes, causing corruption in the city?
They didn't take my money, so sure, they'd take somebody else's money.
But you could be next on their list.
No money. But what?
You could be next on their list.
I don't think so. I'm a fairly intelligent person.
What criminal gonna do? They gonna find a way to come up and rob somebody.
True, and that's what I'm saying though is that we're putting them in jail, we're letting them back out. How many ever years later? Did we do anything to discourage them from committing that crime again?
So it depends.
We didn't cut no hands off.
Hold on, pause.
We didn't
because they do have programs that the inmate can do, but they have to be willing to do the programs. It all goes back to the person. Did you learn from this? Period. Why do you think they go to serve in the kitchen and sweep, get the jobs, haircut or whatever in the prisons or whatever? It's because they want to do something occupying their time, but then they realize at the end of the day, well, some of them realize, because they are criminals, that what they did was wrong, and why not do something productive to occupy my time?
And I'm coming from a point of like, I used to employ whoever. I didn't care. I have actually employed 3 or 4 felons, like on my food truck and in my restaurants and stuff like that. Because a lot of times they come out like I said, they have one of them was a guns and drugs charges, and actually both of the guys the last that I employed were both gun related issues, and so they came out realizing that they had done something that they probably shouldn't have, and that they were trying to run the straight and narrow. And so like they ended up being 2 of the best workers I've had with me. And I've always been able to, like, they've been good, like I didn't have to worry about even though that they were criminals or whatever. I didn't care. Like, what are you going to steal, $50 from me or something like that? I'm going to notice pretty quick, and then you're going to be out of a job or an opportunity, So I didn't pay them less or anything like that or anymore. But most of the time, all I had to do is say do something, and they did it. It was they worked hard.
Sure.
But at the same time, I just the statistics don't say that.
Yeah. No, but those guys wanted it.
Right.
And those are the guys that you can. Those are the guys that we all find that we fantasize come out of jail and they're ready to do the right thing.
Right.
And but like you said, the statistics really show that
once you start,
I'm just sorry I got caught. I shouldn't have done it that way. Next time I'm going to do it a different way.
Right.
So
yeah. At what level do they stop conning you or the system, and at what point in time do they then inwardly reflect on, oh man, I really should straighten up?
Right.
Because even if they wise up, they're still smart enough to maybe play the system.
Right.
And then, here's an opportunity. I just got to mind my P's and Q's for a minute, and I might be able to play the system a little bit longer.
So, which kind of brings me to, we talked a little bit about the Spanish soccer president that kissed that girl, grabbed her by the backside and lifted her up over his shoulder. And she said it was unwanted. And so now he's being brought up on charges. So I had the conversation with my wife, and she's like, yeah, that's 100% how it should go. And I was like, man, dude spent like his whole life getting to this moment, wins a World Cup, was like so excited. Like, I guess on the guy's side, like we talked, it's like a butt tag, if you grabbed a guy, like I've seen them, in the World Cup, grab a guy and give him a kiss on the forehead or give him, even give him a kiss on the lips.
Let's be clear. This is soccer we're talking about.
It's true. It's true. It is soccer. But I've seen it in other, baseball and stuff like that, where they just, Dusty Baker, at the Astros, the culmination of a life's work to win, that massive championship. And, the World Cup is one of those things that happens once every 4 years, and you maybe get if you're a coach, maybe 5 shots at it. And most of the time you get 1 shot because you're only coaching that 1 cycle.
Yep.
Not too many coaches coach 2 cycles. Even if you win 1, you barely, like this guy's definitely not going to make it. But yeah, if you win 1, you normally don't make it through the 4 years for the next, because there's some kind of drop off and things like that. You have guys getting older and women getting older and stuff, and you lose players and stuff. But yeah, with this, like, just a second in time, and now he lost his career, because he's never coming back.
Right.
As a president,
yep,
or as a coach, even, or a soccer, anything.
So what country was this out of?
In Spain.
Spain,
yeah, Spanish.
Where the charges came out of Spain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it all came from.
Yeah, they're a little tougher over there.
Yeah. And so, like, I just had that argument with my wife, and she's like, well, if that's what the country says, that's their laws, that's what it should be. And I said, it used to be that the heat of the moment in sports was the heat of the moment in a sports game. Like, this wasn't something that we saw happen until about maybe 10 years ago or so, I think, that when you got in a fight, that there was actual legal repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it started with, like, Ron Artest, when, like, he ran up into the stands and, like, punched a fan, and I was like, yeah, that's probably taking it over the line.
Oh yeah.
But, like, there's like multiple things, like Michael Jordan punching, Kerr and things like that, and people like that, I guess, not things. And then, your big fights in baseball where they, you got hit by a ball and you run up and you punch the pitcher and stuff. And back in the day, I can't ever remember there being, like, actual assault charges being drawn. Like, Andres Galarraga got punched in the head like so many times by Nolan Ryan, and I don't ever remember there being like,
Right.
I mean,
when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, he got arrested.
He did
after
on that one?
Yeah.
and see, I mean, it's outside of the realm of the normal,
Yeah.
but
But on that topic, if you notice, when we were kids and we got in a fight on the playground,
right,
they wouldn't call the police and have them come in and do an investigation on assault and battery,
right,
but they do now.
they do.
Or if your kid uses his finger as a gun, they'll
Yeah.
call the police in and have.
Right.
So I mean, it's a
I
different.
did teach
world
my
now.
daughter how to do finger guns this week. It was fun. It's like, go to the finger guns to your mom, and she's like, it was great. Her mom rolled her eyes. So, yeah, it just like it seems like it's just a progression of like, you know, on the same topic of like, let's just throw everyone in jail, and if they disagree with you, let's get them in jail.
That's fascism. Yeah, that's what we do.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. We didn't.
Yeah.
If I don't like what you say,
let's see here.
I'm calling the police, and you're going to
You're
jail.
That is it. That is what we do.
We're done. We're no longer friends.
Yep.
Um,
And there's no more tolerance anymore for that.
did you see there last week? We didn't even talk about it, which was I missed it on my headlines. Zelensky from Ukraine said he wasn't going to put an election up.
What?
Yeah, he said.
I thought he was a democracy.
Exactly.
You mean to tell me he's a communist?
He said because of how things were going, he said he didn't think there could be a fair election, and he said he was the best president available right now.
Well, he's the guy we use to launder our money through. So.
Right.
No, that's Subway.
So, it was Subway.
Oh,
now they're
it's
owned by
Zelensky.
Arby's.
Okay.
They have
Gotcha.
the meats now.
I have the beats.
And so then this week I saw that yesterday he announced that he would do an election as long as the United States paid for it. So
Oh, there's a caveat.
we
That's
got to pay
convenient.
for democracy.
So if we're
in
paying
his
for it, we
country.
get to pick who wins, right?
I would think so. That's how it works, right?
That's if I'm paying
That's
for
the-
something, I
that's
better.
the CIA way, right? They're going to take care of that, right?
Yeah, because they don't do Black Ops missions on our soil. So
Is that a
Let's go.
We're-
JFK?
They
Conference.
don't or they don't.
they say they
They
don't.
don't.
They say they don't ever do Black
don't
Ops
do-
missions on our soil.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago too. That I honestly don't think the majority of people under 30 realize that the CIA doesn't do or isn't constitutionally able to operate on our soil.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
FBI is our police force on the U.S. soil.
Yes,
The CIA is a clandestine organization
they were.
and are not allowed
Yes.
to operate on U.S. soil.
Well, then
soil.
explain to me how Marilyn Monroe died.
Right? Or Marilyn
No.
Manson.
So
She's
No,
alive.
I'm not. She's not dead. She's in Mexico.
Wasn't she a
Elvis.
drug addict?
Oh my gosh, she was an angel.
see, that's what they wanted you
Maybe.
to believe.
She was an angel. She was perfect in all her ways. She and her and JFK never did cocaine in the White House.
We got to get the tinfoil hats next time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're beaming. Oh man. So, Libya's got a flood. About 5,300 people they're fearing is dead. They don't know because they haven't found him yet. But
Well, as soon as they start voting for Democrat, we'll know.
we're probably going to send them some aid.
Can they send me some aid?
No.
Some aid.
Do you have a social security card?
Yeah, you don't
Of
get aid.
course.
You don't.
We
You don't
all
get
do.
aid.
You pay aid.
You pay aid.
You pay for the aid. Yeah, that's exactly right.
You export.
who had Aaron Rodgers going down in the fourth play of the game on their fantasy football bingo card?
Me, I did.
That's right. Who didn't? Like, the Jets, they didn't learn the first time. I'm like, they pick up Brett Favre. He doesn't take them to a Super Bowl. Now they pick up Aaron Rodgers. He's not picking anyone up.
Mm-mm.
He's barely even walking. Like, Jay said he got up and he just laid back down like he was going to sleep.
He did. He went into
Who
the
was
field
they
position.
playing?
The Giants, New York.
Yeah.
Right. The
Oh,
Giants.
okay.
Jets and yeah, I think it was. It was Philadelphia.
Well, we sending him good luck and good vibes.
I think it was Giants.
I think it was
Speedy
Giants.
recovery.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back
I'm a
next
Bears
season.
fan. I mean, now that he's not a Bear, I can like not, or now that he's not a Green Bay Packer, I can be like,
How was Fields
whatever.
doing?
But we sucked last week, man.
Who?
We got killed by the Fields, the Bears.
Quarterback.
Oh.
We got-
Bears.
We got beat up.
Da
Like, he didn't do
Bears.
terrible, but it was pretty rough.
So no McEnroe.
He didn't do bad as Burrows.
Any sacks?
But-
Did he get any sacks?
well, he plays on offense, so he didn't get any sacks.
I mean, did he get sacked?
No, I didn't look at the stat line.
So while you're looking that up,
Yeah.
I wonder if the Jets could sign Namath.
They could.
Definitely.
Anything's possible.
He's
They're signing old men.
he's I mean, about the same age, right? I mean, Brady's still out there.
Yeah.
Brady hasn't come back yet this year, so we could maybe get that going.
No, hold on. Brady did make an appearance, and he embarrassed himself when they played against the Eagles on Sunday. He was up there. What that man name is that on the team?
Kraft.
Yeah, old man. Who?
Yeah, Kraft. Robert Kraft.
Yeah, he just knew the Patriots was gonna win. He
Yeah.
just knew. But little did he know. He rung that bell for no reason.
Oh yeah, I remember. I did see that video of him ringing the bell like crazy. Fields had one interception. He threw one touchdown, 200 yards. He was 24 for 37, so respectable enough. They had him throwing the ball like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He had 9 carries for 59 yards. So really no one else did anything. Like, he probably even caught his own pass. Mooney picked it up. He had 4 receptions for 53 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones had 2 receptions. And Jordan Love had 3 touchdowns, so he won. So, yeah, it's a sad game. 38-20. At one point I looked at it, it was 38-7. And I was like, yeah, we lost. All right, bye. So,
You want to pick a new team? We'll let you pick a new one
no,
for this
definitely not.
season.
Definitely not. I got I got teams to root for. You know, Detroit's only 1 game out of second place in the Central in baseball, which the Central is not going to make the playoffs at all, other than first place. So it doesn't matter. But Michigan looks good.
We'll find out this week.
Play Bowling Green. Yeah. UNLV didn't look so great against them. So
Let's talk about Alabama.
yeah,
Let's talk about
it.
We got a new team. They still learn how to play with each other. The
I
quarterback
thought it was roll
needs
tide no
to be
matter what.
replaced.
Roll tide no matter what.
And Nick Saban is still the best coach in the SEC.
No.
Period.
I like your loyalty.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Harbaugh's son was coaching the other day, and
I guarantee you, he called Nick and asked for some advice.
I guarantee he didn't.
Okay,
I can guarantee that.
we don't know. We don't know what Nick
Oh,
be
I
doing.
can.
in the
I
privacy of
can.
his
I know.
office.
I know.
We ain't got his call out.
Oh, I know. But
yes, my team unfortunately did lose against Texas.
that was a rough one.
It was a rough
Texas
one. We
played
did
a
not
good
play
game.
like the champions
Alabama
we are.
didn't play a terrible game other than the 2 interceptions.
That's why we need a new quarterback because he need to learn how not to throw the ball to the opposing team.
Texas, if they can keep things going, is legit.
But let's just hope that this
right
week is better. We play South Florida this week, so
like the Longhorns.
Yeah.
You know
I think they're going to be better next year, but I think they're legit this year even. So
I'm excited for Saturday.
Did you see that they that the US USDA whatever the drug company is
FDA?
The FDA, yeah, Food and Drug Administration.
Mm-hmm.
And the other organization that does with medical stuff approved a drug based off of animal trials.
Who?
A vaccine. Yeah, they approved a RNA vaccine for the flu, based off of rat animal trials.
They approved it to go to human trials?
They approved it to go to humans.
Just release it now.
Release it now as an emergency.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Before flu season comes and kills us all.
Oh, I'm taking it right away.
Sounds like an emergency to me.
I think definitely we should definitely all get it. We might just mandate it for the podcast.
Who?
Let's give it to the babies first, and then
babies definitely first.
Yeah. Who? And puppies.
So,
the World Health Organization said this?
No, this was the CDC.
We don't trust the CDC. I've been done said this numerous of times.
The CDC is our health organization.
They y'all.
Who?
They're not our. They're y'all. Okay.
Right. I don't trust them either.
So
I'm not blindly loyal to any of this crap.
Oh man! On top of that, Ron DeSantis said that for the state of Florida, he's advising people not to take the new round of
good for him
of jabs.
He's still a rhino, but good for him.
No, he's not.
Unless you're 65 or older and you're really susceptible, then think about it. Maybe get a doctor's approval. Maybe talk to your doctor in Florida that says no. So he said, yeah. So that's what he announced.
You put your money wherever you want to put your money. I don't.
Just you get the jab if you want to get the jab. If not, just go to Disneyland.
I'm tired of it.
But they're not going to let you in because you didn't get the jab.
I don't need to go to Disneyland.
They really won't?
I think they will. I just it's in Florida. Well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
go to Disney.
That's
World
America's
in
state.
Anaheim.
I thought that was Texas.
Texas lost out.
I thought that was California.
No way.
Texas is now a blue state.
It's Florida.
I thought that was Wyoming.
Florida, yeah, it's not blue.
Where's Yellowstone filmed at?
Florida.
Where's Yellowstone filmed at?
Florida, the Everglades.
Georgia.
Because that's the state of the people. Because people love their Yellowstone.
British energy giant Bernard Looney, the CEO, steps down over previous relationships with company colleagues.
So,
you got Lady D. You got something to say about that?
Oh.
Yeah.
He must have been doing something inappropriate.
He did have something to say.
Yeah.
His nickname was Randy.
In Europe, that's not as nice as it is here. It looks like that this has to do with conduct according to the company. In other words, conduct in respect of personal relationships with company colleagues. Apparently, Looney had disclosed some relationships in the past before he became CEO. The company found his disclosure to be lacking.
So he told on himself?
He had so what he did is he creatively preemptively struck. So he basically said, hey, I've had relationships with blah blah blah, but he didn't really say the manner of the relationships. Like, hey, I went out on a few dates with blah blah blah. Not the fact that I, maybe slept with that blah 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 for years.
So he wasn't completely upfront.
He wasn't 100% on the truth level. But, normally that will get you through on a job application and stuff. I mean, he's now worked there a year or so. I mean, made a decent amount of money, and now that he's getting fired, he can probably go on to the next place, and maybe he doesn't have to disclose because he didn't sleep with all their people.
He'll get a heck of a severance package.
Yeah. Well, I think they forced him to step down, so I'm sure he'll get some severance still, but maybe not as much as if they had pushed him out, kicked him out. Or maybe that's how they kicked him out, is they gave him a huge severance package and said, yeah.
Just get out of our hair for a second.
So he quit in lieu of termination.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really say. It just says he stepped down. He resigns over the relationships with colleagues. So probably the fact that, he probably resigned. And they basically said, either resign and keep your dignity, or we, go public with all this. Because there's not really, I didn't see a story that really tells exactly what he did or anything like that. So
he was cutting up.
Most likely something like that. But, so, I was talking about the border. We talked about the border a little bit. There's some federal stuff going back and forth on a couple different things. You said, Peyton, that there was a federal ruling that negated the federal ruling that negated a federal ruling. So it's a little bit of back and forth deal on those buoys,
and keep their buoys
in the Rio. It was in the Rio Grande, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Texas. And so it was funny. I've done a lot of talking with my wife, which is always scary. But I was talking to her, and she said, "What if you come at it at this?" And she goes, "I think they should take the buoys down, because they do pose a risk to people who otherwise wouldn't really pose a risk. Because your drug dealers, your gun runners, those guys are already going to, they're going to be safe to get across. They're going to get across. These buoys are probably not stopping them from getting across, right? Well, I mean, in the vast majority, they probably have a way to either they got wetsuits, they got the money, they got the
No, they give it to the people that are going across. They give it to the people that are the innocent victims.
Okay.
Most of those people are carrying that stuff.
So her deal was, why do we close the border off to regular people and not just, those people, we open the borders regularly, because I mean we've got the space in the country. We're not going to overpopulate the U.S., right?
Well, I mean, no, that's not the point.
Not within millions of years, right?
Maybe, but that's not the point.
At the same time, though, if we don't start allowing some of those people to come in legally, giving them green cards, giving them access, we'll never get their taxes.
That's a good point. It's a valid
that
point.
That was kind of my point on the side is that if we don't start getting a handle on it, and as a country, the reason we have the walls, right, is so that we're not just allowing these people in willy-nilly, but if we were able to allow them in at a faster pace.
So how was it done before all this? Before the advertisements and the posters said, "Go to the border, they'll let you right in." It was the way it was done was that they go to the U.S. embassy in their area or their consulate, and they put out there, and then once they got their name picked, They could go in with a green card or whatever, or migrant or.
The problem is back in the 70s and 80s, we kind of strangled the entries. We were looking for people who actually had some skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up making the process take forever. I mean, I think the average entry time to get in legally is what, like 7-8 years, I think is what I read, like 6 or 7 months ago, that it takes 7 to 8 years. And so we're not allowing, like, people who are in crisis that are coming here for an actual, like, to get out of an issue they're not making it. Right? Those people.
So when you say get out of it, because most asylum seekers, they're running from exactly what they voted into power.
Right.
They created that.
Right.
That's their mess. I mean, this isn't a tyrant that's killing all Jews or
right.
all whites or so.
For the most part, a lot of times when you have those countries like Cuba, they may have created Castro.
Cuba's a good example,
but they didn't get to continue voting him in. It's not like Feinstein, where she's like 92 years old and she's been voted in since the 40s.
Cuba's a good example of a good asylum.
But like that, they have no control over that anymore. And I feel like even like Venezuela, even though they have an election, it's pretty much a shambles of an election. It's not really an election.
It's a Ukrainian election.
Right. If the U.S. pays for it, then I'll run an election, because the election's a shambles. Like the election is a show anyhow. So if they bring their cameras and advertise in it.
So I like your approach, but that goes on the premise that we should allow people should even be standing at our border.
Right.
There shouldn't be anybody at our border.
There shouldn't be. It's not like North Korea where we're trying to peer into the fishbowl or anything like that. But
we should take as long as it takes to vet somebody to become an American. Just because we were born here, we're very fortunate. The people that want to come in here, we want to make sure we're getting the right people and putting them exactly where we want them to be.
Right.
When right now we're getting criminals, we're not even looking. It's just come on in.
Now Peyton's talking about utopian societies. But yeah, no, I understand that. I just as a country, we have the blessing. And not allowing people to come, we should vet out anyone with, violent histories or anything like that. And I don't know how we get on that until we get to the one world order. And then we just, then does it really matter anyway? But, it was one of those things where it's like, if we could, in a short time, vet through people instead of in years, if we could bust up the bureaucracy that we normally go through on a normal everyday basis, and we could vet through people, then it wouldn't matter really, other than having criminal backgrounds or being part of, like you said, a terrorist organization or a drug organization and stuff, which is kind of like the gun rights. Criminals are going to get guns without the legal means. The more we put legal ramifications on things, or legal, restrictions on things, the more they're going to have the guns that we can't get, because we would get them legally.
Yeah. And
so it's kind of that same, the more we put restrictions on the people entering the country legally, the less people that would actually provide help to society, would actually pay their taxes, would actually go to schools, work hard,
So I want someone who wants to be an American, who loves my country.
Yeah.
a lot of the people that are coming in, they could care less about the country.
Well, that's
where you kind of get in, and the waiting period and the.
Why is that a requirement, though?
Well, because you don't
because our founding papers say you have a right to assemble, but it doesn't force you to assemble or believe a certain way or any of that.
Well, no, these we're talking about non-Americans, though. I mean, there's a lot of Americans who hate our country.
But if you become an American citizen,
don't make any mistake about it.
Then if you become an American citizen, then you should. Do you not study our founding papers, our founding documentation?
Well, I don't know what they're doing now. They used to.
Maybe is that privilege that I have that I don't know what they study?
If you look at the beginning, they didn't really used to. They created states, they created cities on their own, little Italies and things of that nature, and we just became, because we were a bunch of little stew pots to get the melting pot type thing going, is we kind of all ran over into that's what New York City became, is because it was a bunch. The reason there's all these boroughs is because you had a Polish sect,
sure,
had an Irish, you had Italian, and all of these little areas that then became that they all end up.
But do we have
near each other?
Do we have to redefine what it means to be an American?
Not necessarily.
We did that in the 30s when we busted up all of those little cities.
Because we were supposed to be the land of tolerance.
Well, I've never heard that.
That's why they came.
We were the land of tolerance.
Because they came for religious tolerance.
Religious tolerance.
Oh yeah, religious tolerance, but everything else is out the window.
Other than that, there wasn't a lot of tolerance because the Quakers hated these guys. The Dutch Amish hated, the Quakers because they were too liberal.
I am absolutely.
Well, you have a right to make money, but you don't have a right to worship your God. Well, you have a right to do capital.
That is what we have heard.
You have a right to do capitalism your way, but over here we're going to kind of lean on you a little.
But if you get too powerful in your capitalism, then we're going to bust up your monopoly.
Yeah, we're going to bust you up a little bit.
You just got to pay the politicians and you're fine.
So how much do you have to pay to be an American?
Actually,
it's quite expensive.
It's like $10,000.
And that's also part of the deal is like, should we have, should you have to pay or should you just be like.
Oh, yeah. I think the system, I don't think it should be easy or free. Because if I want to become a dual citizen of another country, let's say I looked into Costa Rica.
Nope, I don't like it.
I like it.
Costa Rica is actually a decent one to go to.
No, too many birds. Spain.
Why not Africa?
I was looking. Belize,
Africa's a good one.
Costa Rica.
Africa's a continent, not a country.
Yeah, Africa's quite a few countries. I mean, narrow it down there, Lady D.
Ghana.
I know too many people from Ghana. I couldn't go there freely without anonymity.
Isn't that in Columbus?
Ghana.
Go ahead.
No, it's Georgia. It's Atlanta.
It's $200,000 to get dual citizenship with Costa Rica.
With Costa Rica.
So I mean, and if depending on how bad it gets, I might consider that.
And that like, because they say that there are countries that you should go that Americans can go to, live fairly unseen. There's enough of them out there. They're expats that you could live on your own money and stuff like that, and fairly cheaply. And like you said, if things go down or things get crazy here, that most of us will probably end up being there. But
do they have extradition?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually Costa Rica does, but
they've got all kinds.
It doesn't matter because you're not going to be extradited. Like if you don't become a national citizen and you just overstay your welcome like everyone else.
Go to Mars.
Wait, that's
I
the
was
US.
Just I was thinking more like Snowden,
but
go to Ecuador then.
Ecuador.
I'm a criminal, is what I'm saying.
Guantanamo.
Yay!
That's the island. So it's just and I actually wanted this kind of like back and forth because I wanted to see like just the conversation never gets vetted out the idea never gets vetted out if there isn't some back and forth. Like if
you don't see that anymore.
If you didn't have a different idea about it, or you didn't have, you didn't have that idea, or you didn't just say your silly quips, then we wouldn't vet the whole process out. Nothing gets actually done. One side says their vitriol argument, and this one says you're racist, and that's it.
That's me.
And there's no like you said, we could go to Africa. We could create a nation there. And, there's probably plenty of land that we could just get a couple AKs and have our own country in like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have one of those spotless giraffes because they found another one of them. I mean, they're not very rare anymore. I mean,
and no snow.
Well, it depends. I mean, Africa still gets, like South Africa gets snow. And
they
stuff.
do?
Yeah, it's way down. It's like way up there. It's like Canada of Africa. Although they're just not as nice.
We already lost Canada, so let's say whatever we want.
Yeah, we're not actually. Did Canada have one of those, like killing everybody type things, or?
No, we lost them
genocides?
we got canceled.
No,
in
I was
Canada
just saying.
last week.
If they did, they'd be just like South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I guess not. So, I mean, maybe the Inuit population or something like that. But anyhow, but yeah. So if we don't have these kinds of conversations, and that's why I like the fact that we have a group of different individuals, like that are from
I love the polarity.
different walks of life type thing.
I love the polarity we're seeing here.
I actually literally forgot to check in on Honest Abe, so hopefully he's still alive somewhere.
He's honest.
But anyhow, so that being said, Jay Boots, you got a Florida man?
Man, let me tell you a story. There was a Florida man this past week who wrangled himself a 20-foot Burmese python. And I looked it up, and the Burmese python is not indigenous to them Florida waters. People were bringing them back in the decades ago. Were bringing them. Now they are, I guess, but they were bringing them as pets, and they were never supposed to grow to these massive lengths. And now they are, and it's really cool. And this guy got wrestled by one. I forget his name.
His name was Jake the Snake.
Oh, Jake the Snake.
Well, his name was Jake. I don't know, but I didn't even hear his last name. I just started saying Snake.
It's the Snake
and went
now.
crazy on it.
Yeah. Jake the Snake, Burmese python guy. Yeah. So.
Jake the Snake, Burmese python wrestler.
I mean, if you had to square up against a venomous or a constrictor, I mean, what would you pick?
Definitely a constrictor.
I don't know. I've seen people.
A 20-foot constrictor or some sort of venomous like cobra type thing.
That's true.
Could I just not either?
No, it's Florida. This is Florida, baby.
Do I have to square up with fists, or do I get like a stick?
You get option C, which is a bunch of gators.
Maybe a knife,
a flute.
Something
I've seen him
like attack
do the flute
with.
thing.
Sure, you can have whatever kind of
Lady
natural.
D, you bring in Virginia Rose.
You can have whatever natural weapon you can find.
A natural weapon. So I found another Florida story. I like the headlines. Rabbits have overrun a suburban Florida community. Volunteers hop to rescue. So I guess somebody let out some domesticated bunnies, and they now have...
And they got busy.
They did it like rabbits. And they now have... Rabbits outnumber the amount of homes in the neighborhood. There's 81 homes.
Wow.
And they have a ton of these domesticated rabbits.
Are they vicious?
The jackalopes?
They've been attacking people in Central Park instead of the squirrels. That's why we haven't heard anything from the squirrels. The rabbits in Florida have taken over.
Now, do you guys remember a few years ago there was a similar story in this area of minks?
I remember that because they got out of like.
It was like some animal rights group.
Like PETA. Yeah, PETA let out like I think it was like 5,000 minks or something like that.
I still haven't seen one yet. But
but they say like 1,000 of them got hit on the road.
Oh, that's
on
right.
the way out.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it was like right next to I-75 or something, or 70 or something like that, and so major highway, and so they massacre. Got taken out. Like it was a bad day for the minks.
Don't ruin the skin.
Yeah, I remember when the pigs got loose or not fell. Something happened with the semi truck that they was in.
Oh yeah, the dead ones.
And they got loose.
Yeah. We had that on the podcast too. There was a bunch
of little baby pigs.
Yeah, there's like 50 pigs or whatever, and they had overturned the truck, and so like 10 or 15 of them were dead, and they had other ones running around, and some of them got stuck in the truck. And I thought you were going to talk about the crazy guy that had all kinds of different animals. The farmer, and then he fell in the pig pen, and they never found him, or they think he fell in the pig pen because they found like little bits of bone.
Oh yeah.
But that was it.
Yeah.
Well,
I admire that about pigs.
You know, the mobsters figured that out a long time ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, Jimmy Hoffa is not buried in Giant Stadium.
He's in a pig's belly.
Pigs. Yeah. That pig was turned into bacon, and that bacon was eaten by Don Corleone. Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, basically they're saying these rabbits are getting hit by cars now. They're they said it's going to cost them at least $40,000 to be able to capture and neuter and spay all these rabbits.
I got a guy that can do it for $500.
They're going to capture them and neuter them and spay them?
Yep.
You know what Hassenpfeffer is?
They're going to microchip them, vaccine them.
Gosh. Study their migration patterns.
Money and resources are we wasting on that?
Domesticated rabbits.
What?
What did you say, Lady D? I'm sorry.
I said, I wonder how much money and resources we're wasting on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they said it was going to be at least $40,000 to be able to capture and then do all of the spay, neutering, vaccinating.
That could be my student loans right there paid off.
Kind of makes you wonder how much they're wasting money at the border.
That blows my mind.
The care for each rabbit costs $200 to $300.
No, it's a 22 bullet. It's like what? 13 cents.
Yeah.
You are heartless.
I mean, then you could feed someone in that community.
Yeah. My
Period.
mower
Day.
That's you using your brain. But I don't subscribe to brain thinking.
I'm not brain thinking no more.
I'm tired of your brain thinking.
Stop your brain.
I could
just talk too much about brain thinking.
I could see this meeting. Let's save the bunnies.
So we could A, shoot the bunnies. We could B, shoot the bunnies and eat the bunnies.
We
could C, just leave the bunnies run wild. Why wasn't that A? Well, I don't know. So
why not just let them run wild?
Bunnies gone wild.
So we could capture the bunnies, vaccinate them, spay and neuter them, microchip them, and then let them free and study their migration patterns.
These are endangered.
I think that sounds like the way we should go.
Yes, sounds logical to me.
Because domesticated bunnies, we've never studied those.
Well, if the shoe fits,
feed them to the snakes.
Can we get some cows
Natural
selection
let them
loose in our neighborhood too?
It's a reverse Darwinism. It's the survival of the most idiotic.
Right. I mean, the bunnies are these like cute little like furry eared like floppy bunny things. It's not like a regular like. It's definitely not like the brown bunnies I see around my house that I'm like because they're coming after my garden and stuff.
Like one's got an eyeball hanging out.
Right. But these are just like fluffy, fuzzy bunnies.
So were they were bred for pet shops?
Yeah, I think they were like maybe 4-H style bunnies that you know
They were show bunnies?
they
So,
were like
yeah, their meat is a little tough. So
Yeah.
I don't know about eating them. We'd probably want to vaccinate them.
Oh, you took that literal.
Yeah, migration.
yeah.
patterns.
I mean, some residents have threatened to shoot the bunnies. Others have threatened to feed them to snakes.
There you go.
Some want to let the bunnies just roam free and be a community of fuzzy bunnies.
Obviously a liberal.
Was that the furry community?
Some are, a lot of them are racing to raise money to save them, save the bunnies.
It's festival season. Have like
So,
bunny tossing.
We're playing God again. We're
Yeah, we
saving
could
the
do the
bunnies.
like they do for the goldfish. They normally, if you get it in a certain one, you get a bunny. Free,
Yep.
free, and you make money.
And it'll be
This is
stuffed in a
capitalism,
fishbowl.
friends. Capitalism, capitalism at its finest.
Look at all those lucky feet that people are going to be lucky with.
Why are there three-legged bunnies running around here?
Oh, the lucky the rabbit's foot.
That's what he was just saying. Welcome to the show,
Hey,
Peyton.
he's here now, folks.
Sorry.
We got him live. We are live.
Jay Boots is using his brain thing. Our hope is to rescue up to 45. That was our goal yesterday, somebody said. But unfortunately, we encountered lots of issues. Bunnies are fast because the residents were so hostile.
And PETA people are back.
Some residents didn't want us to take the bunnies.
Oh, bless the Lord.
Yeah. They got the police out there wasting resources trying to catch bunnies.
The police are on a bullhorn. Surrender yourselves.
They're lion head rabbits. That's what they are. A fluffer species. Fluffier. Sorry, fluffier. I didn't see the eye. So. Yep.
I saw one of them horned bunnies out when I lived out in Arizona.
Oh, jackalope?
I saw one of them jackalope things. It was sweet. I said, why can't all bunnies be like that?
I mean, they got them at Texas Roadhouse.
Let's eat them.
Yeah, I've never seen them outside the restaurant wall, though. Like out in
In the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're out there because they wouldn't have them on the wall.
Well, I mean, they could. They just put a pair
I
of
thought it
deer
was one of
horn-
those-
deer antlers on a bunny.
Like, legitimately, I thought it was one of those, like, animals that was mythological until you live in Arizona and you see one and you're like, oh.
Kind of like a liger.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. It is mythological.
No, they're real, man. I saw one, man.
Real, like Loch Ness.
I
So-
saw it with my
So it
own
is
good
the
eye.
50th year for Loch Ness. So we definitely need to get a group of people together and go find him.
Okay.
Nessie or her. I'm trying not to be like
Discriminatory.
you don't
Yeah.
know what
What's
their
pronouns?
what the
what the
pronouns.
pronouns are,
Pronouns,
or
please.
how they how Nessie you know
Nessie identifies as
identifies
hiding and
as.
not seeking.
So that also hit some weird headlines this week. Is so that girl on TikTok or whatever that was like,
Never heard of it.
you send me TikToks all the time. I don't have TikTok.
I had to take it off my phone
I
because this
can't
guy.
see them half the time.
You guys hate me.
So I'm just like, sometimes I just go LOL to you and laugh at
Yeah,
it
'cause it
because I
doesn't make
know
sense.
it's always a funny one.
Yeah, it doesn't make
But
sense.
but yeah, she's like, I'm single, and so I went out the other night to this concert, and I shouted my head off. I came home drunk, and I sat in my bed for till 10 a.m. today because I don't have kids. I decided I think I'm gonna make shashuka. I saw that on a thing. I'm gonna make shashuka. I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, shashuka's not terrible. Allison likes it. My wife likes it a lot, but shashuka is not.
What is shashuka?
It's a Turkish egg and tomato dish. Basically, you make a tomato deal with different seasonings and stuff, and then you plop an egg down in different spots, throw it in the oven.
Sounds good.
That's not bad.
It's just eggs and tomatoes.
Pretty much. I mean, there's seasonings and stuff in it, breadcrumbs, and just like, it's kind of like a stewed tomatoes, Turkish style. So, yeah.
It's a blue cobra.
So, well, I think we've come to this time in our show where we say,
go get that merch.
Lady D, what'd you learn? You jumped the gun.
Huh?
Said you jumped the gun on the merch thing, but I appreciate the.
Where'd that term come from?
The burnt merch.
Merch?
No, jumping the gun.
The running races. Starting pistols.
The starting pistols.
Yeah.
Period. Because we a Glock family over here. Anyway, what did I learn today? I learned that
Embers. Glocks are too big.
It doesn't matter what you do in life. If you write a book about your crimes, you will get caught.
Well,
does that speak to the level of
so
their
that's
knowledge?
why you write the book after you got caught. That's what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You write the book after you get caught so that you can be like, look, he put the cart before the horse, since we're saying cliches right now.
I don't know if he actually wrote the book, but...
Well, I don't know.
That's allegedly, by the way.
I don't know that he has the ability to write. I mean, you would think a guy that has been CEO of energy companies in Ukraine, which seems super legit, could write, but we don't do that. Jay Boots, what'd you learn?
I didn't. You know what? I'm just gonna be honest with you. I wasn't paying attention.
I didn't learn anything. Oh.
I gotta change the batteries in my smoke detector.
The guys for my extended warranty got a hold of me. Oh, Peyton, what'd you learn?
That I'm hungry for shashuka now.
Shashuka.
Yeah.
It is a good dish. I think you can get it at Pasha at the Green.
Okay.
I learned that, like diamonds, spotless giraffes not as valuable.
Thanks to beers.
Yeah.
Bunnies.
The bunnies. Ooh, I ate the bunny. Anyhow, make sure that you jump on our website at the Why I'm Angry podcast. You get our whyimangry.com. You get our merch. Get some merch. The shirts are real. Like, I have one. I wore it the other day.
You get one.
Yeah, get some merch.
Yeah, we got a merch store.
And check out our podcasts. Watch and listen to them. That helps us out. We get a couple pennies per listen, so get on that. And this is it. I gotta hit the right button.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.